I've had this feeling for a while now. In the back of my mind, ever since we tuned the TT and really turned the boost up, the front wheels would spin way too easily. It didn't make any sense for an all-wheel drive car, but I kept brushing it off. Maybe it was old tires, maybe it was just cold pavement, maybe that's how the car behaves, maybe I was overthinking it. And even with the dashboard lit up like a Christmas tree, I ignored it. Then I uploaded that preparing my TT for a winter video, and looking back at it, it's pretty cringe. I somehow managed to prep everything except the one system that actually matters during the worst New England winter in 15 years. Looking back, it's embarrassing. The signs were right there and I missed every single one of them. So today, we're fixing the problem I should have caught weeks ago, maybe even a year ago, bringing my TT's all-wheel drive system back from the dead. Before we resurrect the all-wheel drive system, we gotta resurrect the TT itself, because in typical TT fashion, it's on jack stands. Again. Alright, so we got the TT on jack stands. Basically, the car started dying at idle. At first, I thought it was the voltage regulator. That's an easy swap, so I just swapped over the voltage regulator on the alternator. We still had the issue, although the car didn't fully die. It threw a code this time as it was stumbling. It almost died. I kind of gave it some throttle and managed to save it. And it threw two lights, an EPC light and the crankshaft position sensor code. So we got our new crankshaft position sensor here, and that's like a whole story on its own. Basically, the universal crankshaft position sensor that they sell for the 1.8T on like FCP Euro and all those sites, it's meant for pretty much every 1.8T besides this model year. This is a 2002 AMU model, and I guess you need a specific long one, so I have to go and track this one down at some AutoZone. I'll show the part number. It is from AutoZone, but it is still a Bosch unit and it is compatible. So as we come up underneath here, you see our first problem. That's that on an American AMU model 2002 TT225. The SIA pump, the secondary air injection, is mounted like right in the way of where we're gonna need to be. So my car doesn't run this. You can actually see the plug hanging here. And the hoses up there don't go anywhere. So I'm just gonna pull it out and leave it out for now. It's a pain. Everybody else online, it looks so easy. Then I come underneath the car and I got all this stuff in the way that I gotta remove first. So there's this bracket right here, and then this is the pump. There's with some bolts right here, and I thought, all right, you know what, I'll just disconnect it from the bracket and pull it out, but it's so in there, there's no way to get it out of the bracket, so we have to fully remove the bracket.
One eternity later.
All right, we got the crankshaft sensor swapped. That was much harder than I expected it to be. We had to pull the whole SAI pump just to even get access to the crankshaft sensor on this car. What we ended up doing is we took an angle grinder to the SAI bracket, put two nice incisions on it so the pump could just come right out. So the bracket is still installed, but there's a nice hole in it. The pump and all the hoses are gone. We're letting the car get the temp so we can see if it's a true fix or not here. I went and bought this Walmart angle grinder. Just took the TT out for a spin, just a quick drive to go get some coffee, and I've come to realize a couple things. I wanted to show you some issues we got that we definitely want to sort out here. Yeah, so we have our stability control light on, we have our ABS light on, and this doesn't come on until you're driving, but we have a red flashing brake light that gives us a beep as well. So, you know, we got some issues that make it unideal to drive a car like this in the winter, and I'm skeptical if the all-wheel drive is even working right now. So we got a lot to diagnose and a lot to look into. We're going to start with the simple things first. We got a lot going on with this car right now. We got a lot going on with the background. We just built our head. We're just now getting started on building the bottom end, but clearly, I mean, this car still needs some love and attention. You know, I'm working on a spare motor, so it's running right now and I'm driving it. This is my daily driver right now. So yeah, but we're still gonna be making videos about, you know, fixing this car up in the meantime. Not every video is gonna be the big turbo build, you know, so a whole bunch of stuff to do to this car. We're gonna fix the ABS. We're gonna try to sort out the all-wheel drive. I mean, it's an old Audi, it's temperamental. It's a great car and it's come a long way, but you know, it's far from perfect. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen still. So yeah, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned. Got a bunch of stuff to do, so yeah, let's get after it. So if you remember a while back, this sway bar end link had came loose and it was knocking around. And you can see why we no longer have ABS. All right, we've got our wire stripped back. Just gonna get some crimp connectors now, connect it back up, and hopefully that should be good. So we've got the rear end on jack stands here. We're trying to sort out our traction control, stability control, all-wheel drive issue. Why we have the rear end jacked up is because we just replaced the rear diff ground strap. So I'll go ahead and show you guys what we did here. Also show you guys some other problems that we are going to need to fix to restore our traction control, all-wheel drive, stability control, all that stuff. We have a new cable bolted up to the diff right there. And then that cable goes to the top of the chassis. After 25 years, it had vanished, leaving the differential with no reliable ground at all. I also want to show you this issue. This right here is our ride height level sensor. As you can see, the arm is broken off. It's like that on this rear one, and it's also like that on the front one. So I've got a replacement coming for both. I've got some of the arm assembly. We're gonna have to, you know, replace the sensor so we have that new plastic arm that we can mount to. Then we're gonna have to try and find some half DIY, half repair solution type deal. The ride height level sensors are essential for all-wheel drive because the Haldex system won't engage the rear wheels if it can't read the car's suspension position. While we're in here, I'm changing out these cheap, problematic adjustable end links for OEM ones. Loose using this interesting wrench I found, and then hitting it with a hammer just to get it loose. Now it's coming out. Finally. So here's what we got. OEM replacement. And get that in. These are from Lemforder, so these are the real deal OEM. So part of our all-wheel drive issues is this right here. This is our headlight level sensor. As you can see, the arm is broken and the other arm that goes and connects it down to the suspension is no longer existent. So we got a new sensor, and then we're gonna have to try to find some DIY fix. There's just T15 Torque holding this in. This should be a quick and easy replacement. So now that it's swinging, you can kind of get that out. All right, it took a little bit of fighting, but I got the old headlight sensor out. On a Mk1 TT225, these sensors are also responsible for adjusting the xenon headlights. We want this bracket to be sturdy. You see that, how sturdy it is? That way we know our headlight level sensor is always going to get accurate data. I installed the nub, hopefully you guys can see it, back onto this new arm, right? I want to say it's going to go like this. This is our old arm, by the way. Reinstall that back onto the arm. Let's see how this mounts down low on the control arm. So I'm missing the bolt that mounts it to the control arm. I honestly may just use a bunch of zip ties for now. All right, we got the wheel on. About to finish torquing those lugs down, and then we are going to get the driver's side front up so we can change that end link. So we're back here working on the rear level sensor. It sits here on this bracket. Unbolted it from there, and then we got the bottom arm down here just hanging. We'll adjust that once we get our new sensor in. All right, guys, so we got the new sensor installed. We got our old level sensor and bracket installed. These Mk1 Racing adjustable rear control arms are skinnier than the stock ones, so there is a little bit of play there. I got some zip ties just to try and hold it in place. I don't think it's going to be perfect. It may not fix my all-wheel drive issues yet, but I will find a better solution for this bracket, and I will get these fixed. So, after 2 years of owning this car, I finally got VCDS. What you're seeing on screen here is my first readout when I first plugged my car into the VCDS program. The first thing at the top, you can see that it says voltage too low. That just means that my battery is pretty low. At the bottom of the page, you can see that it gives us a fault code for our front right wheel speed sensor. Both front wheel speed sensors were previously replaced. The reason why it's giving us this code is because the wire had come apart. We had already fixed that previously in the video. Went ahead and did is just cleared the codes. After I cleared the codes on VCDS, it had given us a new code for the rear left wheel speed sensor. So now we know that our front wheel speed sensors are fine. We now just have to replace the rear wheel speed sensor, clear the codes again, and then our all-wheel drive should work. So we're just unbolting the wheel speed sensor from the back. I just got a 5mm hex on an extension. Make sure you hammer the socket in. It's, you know, real old. You may strip it out, so you want to make sure that that extension and that socket's really firm in there. As you can see, that is an old bolt. Then we also got this little bracket, and I mean, there's no way this comes out. Yeah, it's completely seized in there. Right in there, so we'll go ahead and poke it out from the other side. You know, that ABS sensor's already coming apart. It's just gonna get mangled. It is what it is. Time for the money shot here. Got the wire from the back. I saw it come loose. You guys saw it come free there. And bang. This one honestly wasn't as bad as the front. Not gonna lie, but let's go ahead and replace it. All right, gentlemen. We got the new sensor in there. It's plugged into the harness. So, I mean, let's get the car back on the ground, then we'll go over to VCDS, see what the deal is. Just charging the battery up a little bit. We got the car off of the jack, wheel back on, and let's go take a look at VCDS and see what the deal is. Okay, we are in the car now. We got our Ross Tech Hex V2 cable. Just gonna go ahead and plug it in. All right, got that plugged in. Got it plugged into our laptop. All right, we got the cable plugged in. We got the key on, but the ignition off, so like just electronics on. We got it plugged in. We'll start with our ABS. So right now we're checking if there's any ABS codes. We'll check here for fault codes. No fault code found, so our wheel speed sensors and ABS module are good. Let's close this controller. Checking in our all-wheel drive. Over here, select fault codes. Signal too low, intermittent. That's new. Hang on. Now what I'm going to do is start the car. I mean, you can see already here, we no longer have any lights on the dash. Put the handbrake down. We have just the airbag light because of my aftermarket steering wheel. No other codes. Let's go ahead and clear this. Fault codes have been erased. Okay, so we're back in the program. Our car is running, no lights on the dash at all. Let's check all-wheel drive again. Run fault codes. No fault codes, so our ABS and our all-wheel drive are fine. We've got no lights on the dash. No, let's take this thing for a drive and see what the deal is.